Game on, everybody! Our best of 5 today, Team Russia against Wind and Rain. Yeah, people were asking earlier already if we're going to see a little bit more Anduin. And chances are pretty good because Gulnar plays the babyface quite a bit, so maybe we're going to see that here. We have Battlefield of Eternity as our first map. That's always awesome because it means we're starting off with a lot of brawling, and I'm definitely a fan of that. The Russians in particular love to brawl, and Wind and Rain is going to chip in as well with that. Tyrande banned out right away. The latest patch has been weird because we've now seen quite a few games where the patch had a big impact in the drafting, where we've seen Ana, for example, just move farther down when it comes to priority. But then something like this happens where all of a sudden Ana ends up in a first pick, first ban position again. So it really feels that in the first week of the patch, the teams were adjusting a lot more to the changes, only to later realize that a lot of the changes just weren't really significant enough to shift the priorities a lot. So we still have a couple of heroes that are adjusted. Muradin, for example, sees a lot more play these days, and we have a few other talents that are also breaking through here. Generally speaking, though, there is definitely a bit of a swing back into the ban patterns that we had before the patch was dropped. Li Ming gets banned out after we already have Ana, Tyrande and Imperius eliminated. So again, a couple of the heroes that are extremely powerful here through the poke. Li Ming is also a hero that has been first picked a lot by Wind and Rain because they are tending to push Macke onto that hero. Now keep in mind that Tracer was actually not banned out. It's highly important because Banabir and Macke have played a lot of Tracer recently. Here's the first pick into Hanzo. And now the immediate question, are we gonna see maybe even a Tracer pick on the side of Team Russia? And there it is. Tracer Malfurion immediately picked here. So Banabir is already starting to show his Tracer skills again, which obviously now means that you also have to think a little bit about how to counteract that. So we could see Jimmy, for example, taken. We could see Sergeant Hammer. Anything with an auto attack that really packs a punch helps against Tracer. Thrall helps too through the chain lightning, since he can go for point and click damage that we could see here. We've even seen, for example, other teams head straight into a setup where they even dropped Varian into the mix to try and lock her down. Over here we haven't really seen that yet, but we see Tyrael and Urel. So we actually have armor and shields coming through. And with Tyrael, obviously now also the chance to simply go for Sanctification, depending on the rest of the damage that's coming in from Team Russia. And the Russians ban out Sergeant Hammer, one of the heroes that we mentioned against Tracer, but also strong on the map. Leaves Jimmy. So we could see Reyna trying to get the auto attacks in against Tracer. Wind and Rain at the same time. What are they going to ban out? Stork has played a lot with an Uberak. This is a map where you can still play him quite efficiently, obviously. So they could try and opt in for that. Unless they really want to allow Stork to play that hero. But there's also Dibbles open, there's Garrosh open, so there's no shortage of good main tanks. And they ban Tassadar. They're shutting down the double support that you oftentimes see with Tracer. So even here in Battlefield of Eternity, Tassadar can obviously also start to just get those storms in and really soften up targets to make it a bit easier for Banabir's Tracer to jump into the backline and get the quick kill there. So that's another one. And with that we have Maiev taken, late by the way, and there's Thrall. So that puts us into an interesting spot. Maiev could take over the solo lane at the beginning. She's not great there, don't get me wrong, but she can take it in a pinch and allow Thrall to take the 4-man and therefore stack the Crash Lightning. As we said before, Crash Lightning is oftentimes for teams, if they can afford to put Thrall into the 4-man, the preferred talent to take on Battlefield of Eternity in Volskaya Foundry. Generally speaking, you will see on all of the other maps still Echo of Elements, it offers a lot. And there we have Uther ready to abandon the Snowman again. And Reyna, as expected, from Macke. So that auto attack against Tracer is coming in. And Uther himself, obviously, can work against Tracer's Pulse Bomb quite nicely. Has an additional stun to offer to the mix here now too, which can control Tracer, especially after the 16, when he has Benediction. So they can try to get that in as well. And we're having as our last pick for Stork. What's it going to be? Do we have maybe... Yeah, Johanna. Alright, Jojo in play, and with that we're ready for game number 1 in our best of 5. Team Russia going up against Wind of Rain, and we're heading straight into Battlefield of Eternity. Game number 1, Team Russia on the left with Stork on Johanna, Kolya on Malfurion, Shamsik on Thrall, Banabir on Tracer, and Falender on Maiev. Shamsik actually heading into the Echo of Elements, meaning that he's not going to head into the 4-man. He is actually going to be on that solo lane. And on the right side of the map, we're having Makke on Jimmy. We have Galnagulnar on Uther, Backhult on Tyrael, Skog on Hanzo, and Max Payne, aka Max Passion, on Urel. And already important to note, he's not on his silenced account today, which was always a little bit of a fan service. So there was a little story where he one day joined with that Max Payne account into the lobby, and just to double check, I was asking, okay, is this actually Max Passion? Are we talking about a Smurf account here, or is this a different player? And he immediately said, like, no, it's actually me, this is my other account. And he said, you know what? Maybe I should get my main account here. People on YouTube and on Twitch are going to be heavily disappointed if I actually play with an account that is not silenced. So he actually swapped over to the silenced account just to give people something to talk. That's the type of person he is. That's the type of person Max Passion is. He wants people to look at these games and have something that they can really connect with, where they can say, dude, you know what? I got silenced too. And yeah, I actually don't know how long his silence is, but it is pretty significant, as you could probably tell. I'm always telling this bit of a story where Max Passion has so much passion for the game that he actually asked Blizzard actively to silence him, because he realized that when he was chatting and talking with his teammates, he couldn't really take in the awesomeness that is Heroes of the Storm. It distracted him from the carnage that is this brawler, this Heroes brawler that we have from Blizzard Entertainment. And so he asked Blizzard, can you please silence my account so I don't have to talk to people anymore. I'm always tempted and I need someone to assist me here a little bit. And after he sent Blizzard a letter every day for nearly a year, they finally said, okay dude, we get it, and they completely silenced him. And I totally didn't steal part of that story from Shawshank Redemption. No, that's actually a really true story. And if you believe that, I have a car to sell you. Either way, 4-man at the bot lane, as expected, doesn't contain Thrall, because we have him with the Echo of Elements at the top side, as we already expected. So with this, we're now also having, well, in terms of talents, let me actually have a quick look there. First of all, we have the Ace in the Hole. That's already important. Nothing really too crazy, but Hold Your Ground is even in Europe now taking slowly over the Laws of Hope that we oftentimes are seeing here. But yeah, with that, we're having, again, Skog already firing around. When it comes to the damage against the Immortal, I gotta say that I like the chances of Wind and Rain. They have a lot of good arguments here, with Hanzo in particular. Urel, also topside, should have an easy time against Thrall in the early game, and down to the bottom of the map is still just full-on carnage, as we have Banabir looking for targets. And already Makke, as you can see, is homing in on Tracer whenever he can. So whenever Tracer is in range, that's the priority target for him, trying to burn her down as quickly as he can, and punish that obviously a little bit. That is an interesting setup, and I'm actually a little bit afraid. Whew, that is bad, and that beat that we're now having in the background is also not really too pretty. So yeah, Maiev is also affected by it and drops right away. And apparently I'm not the only one who has experienced that little shake-up here. So there is apparently a patch that, or not a patch, but there is apparently a maintenance that's currently hitting the North American server, and people were already slightly afraid that might impact the European server as well, but currently everybody could still log on. But this little setup here is making everybody upset. So it resulted in the death of Maiev. Well, maybe I shouldn't quite say that. Maybe Maiev would have died there regardless, but that particular setup certainly didn't help. So just in case you were wondering, with Makke pausing the game, it's pretty obvious that I was not the only one affected by that little gem provided here by Heroes of the Storm. So let's hope that this is going to be resolved. Players are definitely giving it another try here, but it would be quite a shame if we had a problem in this series and would have to postpone this. But for the time being, let's give it another try. Currently, the pressure is on Johanna, with Maiev taken out. There was an immediate rotation towards the camp. Cards well played. I mean, this is exactly what you need to do. You kill a hero, you have a 4 versus 3 situation for a couple of seconds in the bot lane, and since everybody is still fully healthy, they make the rotation quickly towards the camp and take it. So that worked out nicely for them. And with that, they now have an opportunity to also go for the top here. Because the important part with this is that normally, as you probably know, on Battlefield, you will see eventually one team splitting one of the heroes in the 4-man off towards the top lane to have a 2 versus 1 situation topside that will allow them to get the Khaldor camp, and the opponent's team will then capitalize on the 4 versus 3 that resulted in the bot lane setup and take the camp on the other side of the map. And with this kill against Maiev, on the other hand, that wasn't really possible for Team Russia. So now they are playing against that too. Having a couple of pauses coming in again. So apparently the problems are still persisting. I mean, hopefully there are only a couple of hiccups here in the early stages of the game. It would be, as I said before, shame if we would have a deeper impact on it. But for the time being, let's go quickly over where we are right now. You have the Immortals spawning in another 9 seconds. We're currently seeing Skok obviously on Hanzo with the serrated arrows, so he's already ready to get the additional damage in. We don't have Thrall with a stacked Echo of Elements on the other hand. So obviously we're still a little bit early in the game here, 2 minutes and 50 seconds, but he's currently sitting at only 12. In an ideal world, Thrall, who apparently has also dropped, which seems to be the cause for the pause here, wants to make sure that he gets the entire setup completed by the time that the first objective is on the map, simply because it will allow him, through his trade, to have a little bit more sustainability. And on top of that too, the additional poke that you of course want through the Chain Lightning. But right now it doesn't really seem like he can rely on that in the first battle. With that said, on the other hand, we have both of the teams now also going for the Shaman camp. And this is another thing that if you're playing on a bit of a lower level, I really want to make sure that you take that with you. As you can see, the Shaman camps have now by both teams be taken around the same time. And the timing is really just designed to make sure that once the Immortal is on the map, those camps are pushing the lanes. So, for example, we're going to see the top camp for the red team hit the wall over here just as the Immortal is on the map. And what that will do is actually pretty simple. It will force the teams to either have a situation where the Immortal can't be attacked because you are having a hero moving onto the lane to de-push the camp, or you simply accept that you are going to lose some structures, could result even in a fort being destroyed if you're really unlucky. But that's pretty much one of the core concepts of Heroes of the Storm that is oftentimes neglected, even on higher level of play, when you see in like Storm League, for example. But also on the amateur scene, when we're talking coordinated play, it's something that you really should try and completely lock down in your own playstyle so that you can always capitalize on those camp timings. Try and take them around objectives so that you have a little bit more value added to them and you force a reaction out of your opponent. And if your opponent is all of a sudden rotating a hero away from the objective to defend the lane, then you know that you are playing in a 4 versus 5 situation and you can try and capitalize on that by pushing for the objective or maybe even forcing a fight and get a kill. In this case, we're having a fight nearly forced on Farlander. Halftime show has already been reached, but it's the red team that starts to get a bit more pressure onto the Immortal here. Barnaby is also low, needs some heals here. The problem is not the only one. Galnaguna is in trouble and is about to fall. Down goes Uther. Tries to get a few more heals out in ghost form, of course. And they still make the play for the Immortal. And despite the fact that they're only back on the map with 4, they are winning it handily. That's obviously where Hanzo comes into play now again. Max Passion already about to jump out with Urel here. But the Immortal is taken. Uther is back and now they can go for the push. Well, this is actually a pretty decent situation now for the red team. This could be a really close series for sure. At this point, we're having the Immortal move down to the bot lane. Urel and Thrall have taken position at the top side again, where they are going for the solo lane. And Thrall, again, only sitting at 14 stacks, so he's still a bit away from completing his quest here. Seeing the Immortal with some damage. If they can break through the wall, that would already be a bit of a win. Attempt at a tether here from Farlander, but not successful. Level 7 talents are ready. That gives us the cleanse with the Hand of Protection for Uther. And on top of that, also, super important for Reyna, the swift retribution right here. And the chase is on as they're trying to see if they can maybe lock down Hanzo. Here comes the attack and the quick move out. Maka also surviving. Nobody falling as we have Team Russia in an attempt to get a kill. But instead, it's Farlander who falls again. That's the second death of him. 5-minute completion on Thrall's Echo of Elements in the meantime. But that's 2 kills against 1 now. Nicely done by Wind and Rain, and look what we have. An immediate rotation, as with the first kill against Maiev, onto the Khaldor camp, capitalizing on the 4 versus 3 situation bot side. And we're having also the blue team now trying to mirror that with a push up to the top. Shamzik has immediately started to attack the camp here. And we're seeing Team Russia making exactly the play that I was highlighting a bit earlier in the game. They rotate heroes topside to make sure that they at least get one of the two camps here. Which obviously opens up a bit of a push opportunity at the bottom of the map for the opponent. And that's exactly what we have from Wind and Rain at this point. Quest completed for Hanzo, full serrated arrow build for him. We're also seeing in the meantime Maiev going into the Ruthless Spirit here. Alright, so a bit of a different build here with the Pursuit of Vengeance into the Blade Dance and the Ruthless Spirit on level 7 for Maiev. Thrall with the Ancestral Wrath. And now we're talking about the Immortal spawning again, but a massive push at the top lane with the 4-man that we're seeing here. The bot lane is trying to do the exact same thing. Slight lead in experience for Wind and Rain, which would also lead towards the earlier level 10. But it seems that we're having an exchange of forts. The camps are also about to respawn pretty soon, at least the Shaman camps. But those two forts are definitely down. Shamzik realizes it too, doesn't even fight for it any longer. But at the bottom of the map, Farlander is looking for the attack against Hanzo. And even Barnaby is here and trying to get a bit more value. That geometry was apparently not simple enough. But now we're having everybody rotate back in. And as I said before, the earlier level 10 is actually pretty awesome for Wind and Rain. It's only a small difference, but it could make a huge impact in the next team fight. There's already quite a bit of poke happening. And obviously with Urel now moving bot side, the idea of Max Payne is to get the experience for his team to hit the earlier heroic ability and then play around that. So with this, we're having once again a bit of a push for the Immortal by both teams, but before that they're going for the camp. And this is actually another important one. They can go for the camp because it's a defensive position. So that's super important here. If the Immortal spawns on the other side and you go for the camp, your opponent is just saying, well, thank you very much, burns down the halftime show without any action. And even here you can argue that they waited too long and allowed too much of an opening just to get the camp. So the timings on these things are super important. Shamzik is a little bit delayed here with his wolf. And yeah, everybody else is already starting to go straight for the defense again. Banabia is low, has already taken quite the beating here from Maka in particular, as he's starting to zone out with the Banshee again. Banabia is still low, but there's the attack against Urel. Nice attack. Also Thrall going straight for the Ancestral Wrath. Arrow gets soaked up by Stalk. Great for him actually, as we're seeing the Blessed Shield come out. Blessed Shield comes in, and we also had the Sundering from Thrall, but the halftime show has still not been completed. But now the camps are pushing, as I said before, even with a bit of catapult assistance on both sides. So both of the teams have to rotate heroes over. But as you can tell, the blue team is actually neglecting that for now. Team Russia is just going for the objective. They're not going for the camp. They see Urel at the bot side, exactly what I talked about earlier. And they immediately made a move for the Immortal and for maybe even a kill. But instead it's again Maiev who dies. Farlander loses his heroes once more. By now Tracer has started to defend the top side, but obviously they've quite lost a few there. And now there's another kill as we see Johanna eliminated too. 2 heroes down, and that's 4 kills against 1. They take the halftime show, they go straight in, and they can now win another Immortal. Easy peasy. Wind and Rain is looking quite strong here at this point. Max Payne is the one who zones out the side a little bit, trying to make sure that this is all going well for them. But that's obviously a 50% shielded Immortal right now that will move down to the bottom of the map again. Yeah, pretty good setup actually. Wind and Rain are always a little bit all over the place when it comes to their performance, but on an on-day they're definitely quite difficult to deal with. Team Russia had a couple of good results lately and is now trying to continue that trend, but at least here in game number 1 things are not really looking too pretty yet. They've lost now another Immortal. They're already behind. Arrow comes in and connects again. Here comes the Blessed Shield, the Sundering as well. Massive C being used to try and control them. The fort is already down, and Malfurion was also forced to use the ult to keep everybody alive, as he was expecting the big engage, which hasn't really happened there yet. Divine Shield is still available, so is the Containment Disc, by the way. Immortal trying to break through the wall at the keep, and everybody else is poking. Poking against Farlander, trying to get some extra damage in. Here comes the level 7 value once more, as we're having Maiev throwing off the Shadow, and once again the attack against Uther and against Jimmy. Both low, but Banabir can't get the kill here. Got actually pushed back here also by Jimmy in this case. Bomb not connecting with anything. And yeah, so far it's actually working out quite nicely for them. for Wind and Rain. I mean, they have level. I mean, they have a 3-kill lead. They have now nearly a level advantage over their opponent. The talent, mostly important by now. Let's take a quick look at the damage output. 28,000 for Maiev. Quite successful here with the DPS, but as we said before, has also suffered the most. 3 kills against her so far. 34,000 by Hanzo. And the only death against Uther. And they're still looking for those kills. Nice lockdown against Max Payne as Uther was trying to jump in and try and take them down, yeah. It didn't quite work out. They're still having Jojo down at the bottom of the map. Stork currently dealing with the setup here, trying to make sure that nothing pushes aggressively against them. Both of the teams have lost forts at the bot lane now. Here comes the containment disc, Sundering as well. Teda is in immediately. The sanctification from Tyrael, and they actually sustain themselves through that battle. Pretty important here as well. Stork wasn't there. A blessed shield comes out, but it doesn't connect. Unfortunate for Stork. He thought they were in range, but they weren't. They're still trying to make the play for Tyrael. Could have waited maybe a little bit longer. He, by the way, also went into Sin's Exposed straight into the Zealous Glare. So he went for both of the talents here with his Shield Glare. So making sure that it gets the additional mark in. And with that, having now, first of all, having a big fight there over the camp. And in this case, Johanna, as we're talking about her, moves straight in. Trying, of course, to also get that shield glare off against Reyna in particular. But there's the potential kill again against Maiev. Tracer falls first. Maiev is low and gets taken down as Hanzo calculates every single angle and gets the full-on hit in against Maiev. That's the second kill. And they're looking for more as they're starting to follow it up against Johanna. Yep, Stork is going to die, and I actually think that there's a good chance for them to get Malfurion too. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't try to follow this up even further. But now we're having Hanzo dealing with the Immortal on his own, and the rest of the team is already starting to jump in towards the top lane to maybe even drop a keep or at least get some extra damage on it. Great setup here for Wind and Rain. 7 kills against 1 already. They break through the wall, they get the camp in, the keep takes damage, and in the meantime the halftime show is pretty much decided in their favor thanks to Hanzo. Final blow comes in from the rest of the team, but another big issue is that level 16 that will drop in just half a level. And Hanzo is very likely to move down to at least deal with the 2 catapults that are already nibbling at the wall here. And as it turns out, they actually don't. They're not... okay, they're splitting Urel off. They're splitting Urel off down to the bottom of the map. Didn't go into the Divine Steed or anything, but still worth it in this case. Still playing around the defensive position that Team Russia has taken at their own Immortal, but this is getting poked down slowly and steadily. Thrall the only one to attack on the left side, and that's not going to be enough. Hanzo comes in again, gets the damage. Here comes Backhult, Tyrael, and damage over and over again, just poked in from the side. Urel pushing it out. There's the 16 in their hands now. 2 levels ahead, talent advantage on top of it, and it's a massive power spike for Uther with a benediction, but in comes the sanctification after we had the side engage. There's also another recall, massive damage against the red team, but it's Tracer again that falls. Uther dies. He obviously is going to use the trade now to keep everybody alive. They're going for Stork, and that's another kill against Johanna as Thrall also bites the dust, and they're not stopping there. It's at least the counter kill that we have against Reyna, but obviously Farlander is not going to make it here. He's down, and that's now a 2 versus 4 trade. And they're looking for the team wipe. They're looking for the 5-man team wipe right here, and I honestly think there is nothing that can stop them. There's Backhult already jumping. Max Payne is jumping too. Kolya is on the run. And... oh, Max Payne. If he would have followed it up, I think they could have maybe gotten the kill. As it stands, they're actually waiting. They're waiting for their heroes to be back, so they didn't take it yet. They can still take that whenever they want. Instead, they're going for the camp down here at the bottom of the map, trying to claim this one. And yeah, with that said, they still have 800 hit points, and now here comes the attack. There's the Immortal. Just as we have the 5-man on the map, they still have the level 16 lead, and now they have an opportunity to go for the first keep in this game, especially since they prepped that bot lane with a Khazra camp already. So they're starting to move that through. The level 16 talents are ready now on both sides, and that gives us also the Thunderstorm, so a little bit more control for Team Russia's Thrall. The Sarah's gift as well. Time to get those heal numbers in, as we're seeing the imposing presence. Fantastic, obviously, especially against the auto attackers here. But there's the damage, and that's a heavy Immortalist pushing in. 15 minutes in, that bad boy hurts. I mean, that keep is definitely a goner. The question is, can you get more? And they're trying to get more. They're trying to go for Stalk, and the Containment Disc is out, so is the Sanctification, as both of them are using that. Blessed Shield unfortunately misses everything, as the Sundering came through just a second before it was used. Everybody is rather low. Berkul needs to be careful here. He still has the shields, and Uther is obviously trying to heal them up. As I said before, that keep is falling one way or another. The only question to be answered here is simply, can they go for the core? And without any kills, I don't think they actually can. There's also a chase now, since we're having obviously everyone low on HP for Wind and Rain. That Immortal is moving towards the core on the other hand, and might actually damage it too. I mean, it is a pretty strong Immortal here, and it's only Tracer trying to defend. I think that core is definitely going to suffer a bit of damage. Shouldn't really be too much, but it's definitely going to lose 10 to 20 HP, or percent of HP right there. Yep, 79, that's what we're having. So makes it a bit easier to also go for a backdoor later on in the game, even though I wouldn't really assume that they are going to risk that much. Wind and Rain is sitting in a quite comfortable position right now, especially since they're still ahead in experience as well. They haven't won the game yet though, and if the Russians are known for one thing, then it's their comeback potential. 3 kills against 11. There's the Blessed Shield. The Divine Shield counters it though, as everybody jumps on Macke. Uther is not hesitating, not even for a moment, and drops the Divine Shield here. They're trying to turn that around here again. Macke the entire time again with a machine gun. Just gets one hit in after another. And that's actually pretty well. I mean, currently the damage output on Reyna is at 60,000. Not quite on the level of Hanzo, but still. Arrow, Sundering, Malfurion already with the heals on the Tranquility, sustaining his team through this attack. But everybody just still trading the damage here. Maiev on 59,000 damage, looking for the tether once again. Shields galore, armor for Max Payne. Tether comes in, but the turnaround against Maiev. The wall to the warden saves her. And it's a kill against Hanzo, as we see the Russians with a kill. The Sanctification came in too late. They nearly lose another one. Another Blessed Shield that actually misses. And as I say that, I realize that I'm lying. I honestly don't really know what that was, but it wasn't a Blessed Shield. Was that Maiev's Shadow? Was thrown out there? Blessed Shield was definitely still on cooldown, so my apologies. Kind of called that a little bit too early. But either way, now with a 4 versus 5, the Russians do what the Russians do best. They're getting aggressive. They're moving in for the camp. They want the camp. They go in and say, like, guys, you have a 5 versus 4 here. Well, Fury, on the other hand, isn't there yet. So they're still fighting it. They want this camp. They want to go for it. There's the Blessed Shield now, finally. Uther is still in action. Hanzo's there. They give it up and they lose Thrall just before Kolya comes in. And now they're losing Johanna as well. The 4 versus 4 fight turns against Team Russia. They lose 2. It looked like they could get a few kills here, especially with Malfurion closing the distance. But now they're losing more and more heroes. And that's the end of Tracer right there. Okay. Farlander simply decides that he is going to Hearthstone back in the middle. What the hell is that? Okay, there's nobody here. I was just double checking if maybe someone is sitting at the edge of the screen for some reason, because that arrow was so far away from any hero. Yeah, but Farlander is allowed to simply move away from the fight here with a simple Hearthstone. Quite interesting. He's a ninja. Nobody sees him. So he goes away from that, but yeah, that arrow went wide and far. Maiev still dies, and that is actually now the 6th death of Maiev. And with that, we're having the game pretty much ending. The Battle.net graces us with another quick spike here, but the game is over as Wind and Rain claims victory in game number 1 of this best of 5 series. A bit of damage and a bit of a defense attempt, but it's obviously not enough. The lead for the red team in this best of 5 here, Division S. Volskaya, ladies, is our map, and we have Wind and Rain with the lead here. So, who's gonna have the first pick? The Russians on the best Ruski map in the entire map pool. I mean, again, there's always the argument to be made. What is the more Russian map? Is it really Volskaya, Foundry, or is it instead Alterac Pass because it's a winter map and the Russians inherently have an advantage fighting in a winter scenario? Just ask the Germans, they can tell you all about that. But in this case, it's Team Russia with not only the first pick, first ban, but also on a map where they feel usually quite comfortable. The thing is, though, that this is a map where we oftentimes see Mephisto being picked by Marke. And... yeah, there we go. Mephisto banned out. I would still expect that we're going to have a ban on... Well, Rexa is kind of also a hero that was definitely interesting in that regard, but I am still looking at Tracer. Tracer is another one that could be banned out here. Instead, we have Material taken care of first of all. Bergholt did some really nice jobs with the sanctifications on the last map. I think he missed one just barely where they were trying to save Hanzo and couldn't quite get it through in time. But outside of that, just the shields alone and the way that he used the sanctification was pretty impactful there too. So let's see how they're gonna play with that. Again, the ban against Imperius. Wind and Rain definitely looking at this and saying, you know what, Imperius is too much of a setup here for them. So yeah, ban Imperius out as well. They target the offlane with both picks, or with both bans. Which also means Ana is open, Maiev is open, Zeratul is open, Tracer is open, and we have Ana. Alright. So, on the other side, are we going to see the Tracer for Marke this time? Li Ming is also still up, and as we said before, Li Ming is actually a hero that they pick a lot on Battlefield of Eternity. That is not the only map where the hero can get a lot of reset value. Okay, with that said, we have Hanzo Malfurion taken. Now, this is going to make things really interesting, because now there's actually a chance that we're going to see a Zeratul set up for Team Russia. There's no sanctification against it, so you could really argue that with Ana in the mix, if you pick Jaina right now and you get a nano boosted Jaina with a Void Prison setup, that is a lot of work. But they go for the Li Ming variation instead, so not the Zeratul setup, but dropping Stalks and Uberak, that they could have had access to in the last game as well, but they decided against it, and they use now Li Ming with a nano boost over Jaina, which leaves Jaina and Zeratul still open. Could still in theory be taken here, even though I don't really feel it fits into the composition of Wind and Rain any longer with the setup that they're running here, since it would also mean they only have a single melee hero, or well, let's say a single frontliner. Zeratul isn't per se a melee hero that you want to have at your front line and that he can protect the back line. There is more so the assassin that comes in as the third melee, if anything else. ETC banned out. It's like a full target onto the offlane. They're really just targeting Shamsik here. And there's the Tracer ban, which still leaves us, at least on the mage side. Actually, talking about that for a second, let me actually rethink that quickly. What is Marke going to play here? I mean, we have already the ban against Tracer, against Mephisto. We have Li Ming taken away. So, first of all, we have Thrall coming in. Bergholt with Johanna this time. They're leaving Marke open for last. And there's quite a few heroes still that we have seen from Marke. He's the one that really just loves to throw in a bit of an X factor as well. But what is actually going to be his pick for this one? We could still see Genji, for example. And he played a lot of Genji there too. That's another chance for them to use that. It's a lot more than that, but that's at least one option. And there's Phoenix and Blaze. So Nubarak Blaze for the additional bunker. And Phoenix for a couple of additional auto attacks that we're having from his side now as well. And let's see it. Marke, time to shine. What is it going to be? What are we going to have from him now? They definitely need a bit more damage. Thrall and Hanzo obviously are going to deliver some of that, but they need a bit more than only those two if they want to get the kills in. And yeah, Marke is always one of... Oh, what? Leo gets picked. Alright, are we going to see a little bit of a swap around here? Or is... Yeah, Marke is heading over to Thrall. But yeah, interesting. Still finding himself on the melee here. So that brings us into game number 2, and Wind and Rain currently has the lead in this series. Team Russia has a pretty solid draft to tie the series up. But yeah, let's see what happens. Team Russia against Wind and Rain on Volskaya Foundry. Game number 2, Kolya for the Russians on Ana. Shamsik is currently playing Blaze. We're currently having Banabir on Phoenix, Farlander on Li Ming, and Stalk on Nubarak. And over to the right side of the map, Galnagulnar on Malfurion, Skorg on Hanzo again, Mak on Thrall, Bergholt on Johanna, and Max Payne on Leoric. Yeah? You can't write Max Passion without Max Payne. It's actually true. And yeah, Max Payne, the Smurf account of Max Passion, is pretty much the feeling that he had when he realized that his Max Passion account was perma-silenced, so he wasn't so much pain that he used that to create his next account. Makes perfect sense. So, talking about our little setup here, we have Johanna actually this time not with Hold Your Ground, but going for the self-sustain instead and dropping straight into the Laws of Hope. Also, we have the Crash Lightning in this game. We talked about this earlier. Right now, with Leo in the mix, you can definitely have Thrall in the early game in any kind of 4-man setup. You don't need to send him onto a solo lane. So that works out for them quite nicely. Stork already annoying Leo a little bit down here. Both of the teams starting to screw around there slightly. But yeah, Thrall is definitely going to try and make a couple of rotations that allow him to get stacks together. But talking stacks, we have Hanzo already taken out. Stun into stun, and that was a pretty quick reckoning as the Russians are saying, this is our map. Get out! Get right out here. So, for now, Stork actually gets locked down for a moment and slowed by Backhold, but I don't really think that's going to be too much of an issue. Not yet. Marcus still sitting at the top side. Still using the Chain Lightning here as well. They actually leave him on this, but now with 1 minute mark we have the camps attacked again. And this is actually something that we've been talking about quite a lot on this map. You want to take those turret camps as quickly as you can once that they spawn at the 1 minute mark, so that you afterwards can fight over the healing beacon here, but also you will have access to those camps again when the first objective is being fought over. Quite important. So definitely incorporate that into your own strategies on the map if you haven't done that yet in the past. Barnaby is doing fairly well against Maka, is dodging out on the wolves too. And currently Maka only has a single stack, and that's usually not something that you want when you're going into the Crash Lightning. So right now he's attempting to get a few more stacks together, but Stork is already coming in from behind. And yep, there's the attack against Max Payne, and he is max dead. But obviously at this point they still get the item, and sacrificing Leo for that is totally worth it. Losing Maka in the process, on the other hand, might be a bit of a different story, and let's not forget that they also dropped the turret here. So at the end of the day, we have 2 heroes fall and the turret being dropped for the healing beacon. Not quite sure if that's really worth it for them. If they can save Maka, it's a bit of a different story. Obviously, you want to sacrifice Leo in such a situation if you have to. If you have to lose any hero, if anybody sacrifices himself, you want it to be Leo. In the early game, his death timer is so low, he respawns on the spot again. It's just really not a big deal. But losing Maka then as well, and also sacrificing a turret, that's a bit of a different story here. So we'll see how exactly that's going to pan out then. So Stork already sitting here in the middle again for another engage. He's obviously waiting for the rest of his team to follow it up too, but needs to be a bit cautious around that. With the level 4 talents, we don't have them go for any additional slows. Instead, we see the Shed Exoskeleton for additional movement speed. And also to burrow a charge out of this one. There's a lot of aggression right now that the objective is up. And obviously Maka is now finally in a position where he can start to get the stacks together. Has 3 now for the baseline. And it is one of these talents that will give you value before you even complete the quest, but still, the quest reward is where the power really kicks in. But let's see if they can actually pull this off here. And the map was obviously slightly changed too. Having by now also the Crossfire taken on level 7, Calamity is coming in for obvious reasons, and in addition to it, the Sin's exposed here with a kill against Hanzo. Hanzo's getting a little bit wrecked in this game. That's the 2nd kill against him already, and it's the 4th kill for Team Russia. They're coming out swinging right now. They're really coming out swinging at this point. And down to the bottom of the map, we are currently having Shamzik pushing this out too. They already had an experience. They're also starting to take even more points on the objective, but things are currently looking pretty decent for the Russians. Looking fantastic here. At the top side, that's where we have Banabir starting to rotate back down. Leo is holding the point for now. Stork is fighting it out with a skeleton. And we have Maka and his boys going for the 2nd turret. This is the reason why you take the first one at the 1 minute mark. Exactly this right here. So they're going back in. They still have the healing beacon, which is kind of important now too. They're starting to make their play. And that's the drain against Stork again. Good double stun. Jet propulsion hits nothing. Turret already on the ground. Both of the teams with the first turret. Barnaby with the damage against Skok. And there it is, the healing beacon as the warp out happens. Barnaby are trying to retreat and obviously working with the shield mechanic right now. Shamzik still alive. They're fighting for this pretty hard actually. And they're starting to zone them off that point. 1 turret is still in play. Yep, that fountain is obviously still up, so they can tap that too and try and re-engage into the battle here. But by now we have Wind and Rain taking over the progress. They're sitting at 70, nearly 80% by now. They're getting chased off once more though, as those hits keep coming from Li Ming in particular. The Calamity kill maybe? Not quite, but Johanna is still low and Bakul needs to be careful. There's the kill as Phoenix goes for it, and all of a sudden we're talking trouble. Max Payne is in trouble too and goes down. Yeah, 6 kills against 0 by now. Marcus trying to turn it around. He has 9 stacks by now on his level 1 talent, but they are starting to lose more and more ground here, and it doesn't look pretty. 1 stun, 2 stun, and yep, Shamzik gets locked down, but gets healed by Ana as the darts keep coming, and that's the first protector right there. Another kill attempt against Max Payne. They're following him down to the bot lane actually, and they get the kill. They take him down again, level 10 now, ready for them too. And already this rotation. This is a rotation that we've talked about a lot in the past. They are starting to rotate instead of top lane to prepare for objective number 2. They are oftentimes these days rotating down to the bottom lane instead to take and prepare for objective number 3. The changes to the map have also impacted experience a little bit. And normally these days at the top, if you're doing well early on, you usually have a talent advantage that you can run with. With the level 10 that they have, they might even be able to force a fight here. Barnaby, on the other hand, is so low that that's unlikely. And again, the little problem that we have, the insta-pause from Gulnar. So again, guys, apologies here, but this is something that we will probably have to deal with a little bit today, since it seems that Battle.net is a bit unstable. There is currently a maintenance happening on the North American server, as far as I know, but we had similar issues already in game number 1 for the players, but in this case it's only a very, very small spike. The players paused just to be on the safe side, and nothing else has really happened here. The bot lane has nearly fallen. They nearly dropped the entire fort here. They couldn't quite get it, but they took the fountain out, and now we have level 10 ready on both sides. It's actually impressive that it's only a level lead if you think about the kill difference that we see here. 7 against 0. Maka and his boys are starting to contest this position. Arrow hits, but it only hits Stork. They're trying to follow it up, and they can't. Here comes Shamzik. Doesn't even drop the bunker yet. They're going for Anubarak. Bunker is in. Big boy Salvo comes out. Nearly drops Gulnar here. And they're trying to make another play for Maka. I doubt that they can get the kill, but they are able to get the healing beacon, which is the more important part of this. So yeah, nicely played by the Russians. Heavy aggression from them. Looking really, really strong here. And, well, with that said, we're having also, in terms of talents, the Entomb obviously coming in. So Entomb is going to be a thing with a level 20 later on in the game. That could be a turnaround. Because as much as we talk about the kills that the Russians currently get, don't forget that in the late game, a single good team fight is going to help you out with this. Farlander then again is playing really, really well here. He's sitting at 24,000 damage. We're currently seeing a ton of work being done by Phoenix in particular, as Barnaby is just getting those auto attacks in the entire time, and his abilities too. And they're going for another kill. Max Payne is max dead again. 4 deaths on him by now. And they're starting to go straight in for the fort here. It will be the first structure that's taken down, with Stork also dropping a couple of additional beetles. That's not a problem whatsoever for them to claim. They have level 13 now as well. That alone is obviously a pretty comfortable buffer that they have now over their opponent. 8 kills against 0, 13 against 12, camps on the map. Easy peasy. And we have now Illusionist taken and full-on Hardened Carapace build for Anubarak with this level 4, 7 and 13. And on top of that, he's also in a position where he's soon going to complete his level 1 quest, which means that's an additional kill against Phoenix actually at the top lane. Barnaby gets wrecked here. Wolf and Root apparently enough to set it up for Hanzo to get the kill here, with Malfurion chipping in for the final damage point. That's at least the first kill. And all of a sudden, they're on even talents again. 8 kills against 1. And let's see. We're having up at the top side Stork and his boys already moving in to see if they can maybe contest this, even without Phoenix. It's another 8 seconds. Li Ming is at the bot lane, starting to make the rotation. Look at the damage that we're seeing from Thrall, by the way. 22,000 already with 17 stacks. So Marco is really working to get that number a bit higher. And once that he gets to 30, gonna be a great spot. Heavy aggression here as the flank keeps coming. Both of the stuns are missing though, and in comes the Blessed Shield. They're trying to turn it around here. Nice attempt by Wind and Rain to turn the fight against Team Russia. It didn't quite work out, but the aggression was actually pretty decent. It was a good idea from Stork as the flank came in, but they're getting punished for it now, and Stork in this case even dies. Great salvo, but I doubt it's going to be enough to really kill someone here. Everybody is low. Oh, they get the kill against Thrall. Nicely done, and Berghold with 100 hit points gets also dropped. The problem is that we're having Li Ming fall as well. A 3 versus 3 on the map now. And we are seeing a massive, massive death battle up at the top. And there's the kill against Phoenix. Banabir dies too. Really, really nice comeback from Wind and Rain at this point. And they are obviously now aiming for Protector number 2. A single stack is all that Macke got out of this, by the way. A single stack at this point for Thrall on the Crash Lightning. Same time though, the Fountain is taken out. We're having the Russians in an attempt to maybe even get level 16 so they can fight with an advantage over the Protector the next time. There's still also the Healing Beacon to consider. It's now being fought over by both teams as they're moving in. Talking about moving in, Max Payne is just going in. Doesn't really drop in Entomb or anything just yet, but keep in mind that's not the only thing that we have here. There's a bit of lockdown available since Berghold comes in and has the Blessed Shield ready. Could try and use that. They're already trying to set that up. Nice damage here, and the kill against Blaze. Blessed Shield used, no chance for him to press R and get the bunker out, and that's a perfectly staggered death against Team Russia, which will allow Team Wind and Rain now to go straight in for the second Protector. Macke with 20 stacks by now. And looking pretty solid here. 10 kills against 5, but they're turning this. 30,000 damage nearly for Thrall as he starts to poke more and more. Gets the double wolf out as well. They're making the play here. Once again the setup and the big arrow hitting 2 on a low, and the Entomb is beautiful. Perfect Entomb. Leo might fall, but it doesn't matter anymore. We have 2 down already. There's a third one falling as Phoenix is eliminated. Farlander realizes that he won't be able to get out of this one and simply sacrifices himself. Drops the quick Maceton, and that's the end of Li Ming. 16, nearly 17 now for Wind and Rain as they've taken the lead, and they go for the fort even before the Protector is taken here. Great setup here once again, and a fantastic turnaround by Wind and Rain as the Russians are starting to be on the receiving end of these fights. Not quite what they want, but now what do they do against that particular push? Leo's already pressuring through the mid lane, which is another problem. The rest of the team is busying themselves going for the keep now with that lead that they currently hold, and also the camp that was taken. Simply saying, guys, we got this. Easy peasy, go for the keep. Try and take that down. It's a pretty important keep to take if you can, because it means that when the next objective spawns bot side, the top lane is continuously going to push against Team Russia, always assuming that they can get the keep, because it's actually not quite clear if they are able to pull that off. There's still Leo that's fighting out with Blaze at the side, but now that they have to actually move back from this, it's a little bit more doubtful that they're going to get this in the first place, which would mean that they haven't really accomplished a whole lot with the Protector. They're trying to get the kill here. There's a salvo coming out. That's good damage, but it's not enough to get the kill, but it's prepping for one for sure. The engage against Berghold. One stun, second one misses. Jet propulsion is stopped by the Iron Skin, and the arrow comes out from Hanzo from the side. And the immediate earthquake, and the Entomb against Banabir. And that's one kill against Phoenix. They might even be able to get Kolya on his Ana. In comes the potential kill against Li Ming. Bunker on the ground, gets taken down. The flank from the side, Ana dead. And Li Ming gets slowed. Berghold wants to get the damage. They go for Leo again. Max Payne is alive, and Li Ming is dead. The fight over here to the left side, to the right side of the map, as Macke is trying to get another kill in. Max Payne is already ghosting into position 2. They're still having Stalk there, who gets the drain off right away. Johanna is looking at this and saying, like, I'm done with that shit. I'm going straight for the keep, bro. You can try and get those kills as much as you want, but I'm going to try and get some damage on that thing. And they're going for the immediate camp clear again, trying to get those extra items. But yeah, pressure everywhere. Pressure everywhere now, trying to get the advantage on items. We still have Khaldor now with the healing beacon. They're moving into the middle to drop another fort here. 12 kills against 11 now, and a pretty big lead when it comes to experience. Damage output, 47,000 and 49,000 on the side of Thrall and Hanzo. 58k and 55 for Phoenix and Li Ming. but they are starting to fall behind in kills. They are starting to fall behind in kills at this point. Malfurion hasn't died yet, by the way. Only one in this game that hasn't died yet, so he's a survivor for sure. Could join Destiny's Child if he wanted to. In the meantime, we're having that particular one fought over again. 20 is nearly there, but it's not quite yet. Backhold goes in. They don't have the Storm talents yet, but they are close. Cocoon on the ground as they're starting to make the play in. Max Passion is about to fall again, but he drops the Entomb. There's the 20. Salvo comes out. Barnaby is in the corner and gets taken down. A kill for a kill at this point, and the 20s are claimed now on the side of Wind and Rain as they have the big lead here. Bullseye hitting Li Ming, and the hit comes shortly after. Phoenix is dead already, and they're looking for the second kill as they're following it up on Shamzik. 26 stacks by now for Market 2 as he drops the Wolf and drops Blaze as well. Blaze is down, and it is just looking disastrous for the blue team. They are down a Storm talent. They're losing items the entire time. Camp is cleared once more as the push comes for the keep at the top lane. Bottom objective hasn't been announced yet. Well, as I say, there it drops, but that keep is definitely down right there. Nicely done. 27 stacks also on the side of Thrall, which means that he soon is going to complete his Crash Lightning and will then prioritize with the Chain Lightning heroes even more than he already does. 25 for Nuburak, who still does not have the extra hit points that he so desperately needs here. But the aggression is there, the rotation is coming in, the items are in their hands. Max Payne is also making his way over, and they're looking for an additional camp, an additional item right here. Someone has to take over the beacon, and that's exactly the checkpoint. That's exactly where Leo is headed. And they're looking pretty fantastic here. Right now the question is, what can Team Russia do? Team Russia is trying to get level 20, and honestly, they should be able to get a fight. They should be able to get a fight, and I like the rotation here towards the middle. I'm not quite sure what that orb was supposed to do. I was hoping probably that he hits at least one of the two, but nope. Couldn't decide, Fort or Fountain, which one to attack. But they're going to get level 20 and should be able to make a bit of a play. Bot lane gets attacked in the meantime, of course, since Wind and Rain is not simply sitting idly by while their own structures get attacked. They get some additional damage on as well. But here comes the 20 now. And with 20 versus 20, we're talking. Unconquered Spirit, Repulsion, Rewind, Fortified Bunker. It's time to shine, baby. And there we go. They're taking the fight. They have to. 28 stacks by now for Market. Does he get to 30 here? Looks like he can. Gets another hit in, but it's not sitting at 29 just yet. 92 points already on the progress bar. Stalk is eating. Oh my god, the Buried Alive and the damage. Nice heals coming from Kolya from the outside, but Anna, can she really save the bug? And indeed no, she cannot. Anna down, and so is the Nuburak. Both of them dead. The Nano Boost and Farlander just didn't do enough. The Unconquered Spirit already proc as Barnaby barely survives. Mac Payne comes in and says, yeah, do you know what? I want another kill. He doesn't get it, but they get that Protector, and that's all that they need. They already move straight towards the top. They're gonna try and end the game here. They want the 2-0 lead against the Russians. 16 currently against 12. That's what we're having here. Trying to win this game with a 1 level advantage at this point. 4 kill advantage for them. And after this disastrous early game from Wind and Rain, where they lost 7 heroes, 8 heroes without getting a kill, they just turned it around. They get another kill. Phoenix is dead. 5 deaths on Leo, 6 deaths on Phoenix, and they are starting to end game number 2. With the quest completed from Marke, he's currently the 3rd highest damage, the 4th highest damage in the game, but they are taking this one. Wind and Rain with a 2-0 lead against Team Russia in the best of 5 here at Division S. Well played on Volskaya Foundry as they take a big lead in the series. (2-0), ladies and gentlemen. Wind and Rain is actually looking pretty good here today. Team Russia is having trouble. The early game on map number 2 was actually pretty fantastic for them if you think about it. 7, 8 kills against zeros, I'm not mistaken. And then Wind and Rain turns it around. So it seems a little bit like they finally found the key to defeat the Russians. They've heard that the Russians are a comeback team. They heard that the Russians are embodying the 6.5 out of 10 meme. And instead said, what if we just completely grief in the early game and then come back ourselves. And the Russians, they didn't see it coming. They just didn't see it coming, so they couldn't deal with it now. But yeah, with this, we're having on Sky Temple the map choice of the Russians. We actually have Falstad banned out and Rexa. So apparently, we are starting to ban out the globals early on. That's an interesting start. Banning Falstad out is definitely an interesting start. They have first pick. So are we going to see them heading into Dehaka? Abathar hasn't been banned or picked yet either. That's another one that we have to keep our eye on. Nubra gets banned out. Okay. I'm honestly curious right now. I am honestly a little bit curious to see how this is going to work out now. Abathar could be picked here. Abathar Samuro, a little bit of hardcore cheese. Can be insanely annoying to deal with. I mean, I really expect an Abathar ban. No! Zeratul gets banned. The Slug is already celebrating. Are we going to see an Abathar pick? I mean, at this point, you kind of want it, to be honest. Obviously, there's a lot of other picks that you could get at this point, but damn. There it is, Abathar. Still expect that Dehaka is making an appearance. We see the Dehaka pretty much every single time we have Sky Temple. I mean, just this week we had Dehaka picked like so many times on Aldrich Pass, on Sky Temple. So yeah, the dinosaur is seeing a ton of plays since the globals are obviously highly prioritized the bigger the map is. But now with the Abathar first pick, we're seeing a Stalk on Tyrael, picking it also away from Backhold, and Banabir on Hanzo right away. Oh yeah. I'm a little bit curious. The ban pattern that we are seeing from Team Russia definitely makes me question what's going to happen here. Because obviously, I feel like at this point they really wanted to go for the Slugger a little bit. What I want to know now is if we are seeing a ban on Dehaka or if they're actually picking it away. Now we have Tracer and Karazim, or two perfect targets for an Abathar head. Karazim obviously capitalizes on Abathar too. And this is getting a little bit insane, because if you get chased by a Karazim with a symbiote head on his top, then it's just gonna be lights out for you. Johanna gets banned, and right now I'm simply waiting for the Dehaka ban. Honestly, no, not even that. You don't have to ban Dehaka out here. Not with the setup that we're having. I honestly, at this point, think Dehaka might not even be picked. I mean, they ban out Sylvanas to make sure that the early game of Abathar can't be abused by the opponent by simply trying to push hard through the structures here. So that's already a really good choice here from Wind and Rain. Dehaka can still try and hunt Abathar out, but yep, there we have him. But I would still say that's kind of okay, and you can deal with that. But yep, there we see the global once again. The Tracer setup is also interesting. I totally could have seen someone go into a Samuro setup. We've seen in HGC what Abathar and Samuro can actually do. You pretty much lose structures all over the place once that you don't watch that hero every time, and it's really insane to keep track of him. Muradin gets picked, and Illidan as well. Every single hero on that lineup is a perfect Abathar target for the symbiote. Every single one of them, without exception. Muradin is insane, Illidan is insane, Karazim is insane, Tracer is also fantastic with it. This is a brutal setup. And now what's the last pick? Cassia for Farlander. The Russians have to try and pull this off. I mean, they're down 0-2. They need to start a comeback here. If they don't win on Sky Temple, which is their map choice, then it's lights out. Then Wind and Rain takes the series with a 3-0. So time for the Russians to show what they're made of, and to prove that they can take at least a map in this best of 5. Game number 3, and we are ready to go, and let's see if the Russians can take it here. Tyrael gets played by Stalk. We're having Kolya Martian on Rhaegar, Shamsig on Dehaka, Banabir on Hanzo, and Farlander on Cassia. Mark on Tracer, we have Skok on Abathar, Backhold on Muradin, Galgulna on Karazim, and yeah, Illidan actually silenced. And no guys, he did not get silenced from game 2 to game 3, But Max Passion realized that he made a big blunder here, that he actually went onto his Max Payne account. Twitch chat was unhappy with it. He already was expecting a negative response on the YouTube comments as well. So as a fan service, he switched to his main account again and is now back to business with his Max Passion account silenced as usual, so that he can focus fully on this potentially final map of this series. So, with that, we're currently having a little bit of action in the middle of the map. Already a little of a 4 versus 3. Well, Abathar also counting in. Dehaka has taken the bot lane, goes into the race car build here, actually, with the enhanced agility. Having at the same time Muradin with Third Wind on the level 1 talent. And in addition to that, Illidan with the Immolation. A little bit more wave clear for him. Can play around that, doesn't go into the unending hatred which we've just seen the other day. And in the meantime, Berghold is also doing his thing at the bot lane with a bit of Abathar support. Towards the top side, Shamzik goes in, misses the drag, gets attacked, and that looks pretty suspiciously like a potential kill. Fortunate for him that Tracer wasn't able to connect the bomb here. So yeah. With this, again, a little bit of a move towards the left side as the camp gets invaded, and they're like, uh-oh. Berghold comes in too, Max Passion is on the way, Hanzo is a little bit late to the party, and there's the potential kill against Farlander. Obviously his blinds are pretty good against this setup, there's a lot of heroes that have auto-attack focus, but there's the kill. And that might only be the first one. Oh, but Tracer eliminated, and there's Karazim too. Bit too much aggression, and now that Hanzo is finally in, the party looks different. But Rhaegar falls as well. Yeah, Illidan is pretty good in these setups. The problem is that Illidan has trouble getting out there. He doesn't even have the friend or foe, so he can't even jump out at this point. He dies too, and that's 3 kills against 2. And we're having, in addition to that, the camp still taken by Team Russia. So we're starting this game with a lot of heavy aggression right there. And honestly, if you think about it, Illidan probably did the best that he could do here. He got a counter kill, would have most likely died regardless, since he didn't have friend or foe to jump out of the fight onto an ally. We weren't on level 4 yet, so given the circumstances, getting that counter kill was probably the best outcome that they could hope for. Now with level 4, we're having again the Thunderstorm taken. We see also the Needle Spine over the Adrenal Overlord that we could have potentially seen here too. And yeah, I'm a little bit hyped for this. Late game in particular with Abathar should be pretty strong for them, as the heavy invade, since Team Russia is attempting to capitalize on the early game strength that they have. Max Passion is maximum dead. He keeps forgetting that he's not playing Leo here. So, yeah, this time he actually has to travel back onto the lane. I'm honestly a little bit wondering what he's going to go for in regards to his level 10. If we're going to see the Hunt, which I personally love because it's just like the Superman talent that begs for aggression. Against Dehaka, you have a pseudo-global that you can then use to mirror his movements a little bit. But then again, if you go for Metamorphosis, you have in big team fights a lot more survivability. Hanzo with a kill against Tracer, so the cavalry is once again dead. 5 kills against 2 by now. Things are starting to become a bit dicey for Wind and Rain. It honestly feels that they are YOLOing it a little bit too hard in that early stage of the game. But let's see. There comes again. Abathar as he jumps in, tries to help out here. Again, late game is what I'm currently waiting for. Level 7 talent gives another big boost over to Team Russia, and since they're an entire level ahead, they will maintain that for a long time. Berghold is already in trouble as he gets a couple of hits pushed onto him. But by now the Feeding Frenzy taken. Also again the Surge of Light at this point. I mean, keep in mind, Cassia with the blinds can really screw with a lot of the heroes here. Illidan and Karazim in particular. So that blind is going to be quite powerful in the later stage if applied properly, given the amount of heroes that really need that. But there's at least a few of the hits taken out at the top by the team in red. So they're trying to get some value out of the temple. So far the game hasn't really gone well for Team Russia. There's the blind. Farlander gets still attacked though. Everybody else is jumping in too. And Farlander, they want him and they get him. Farlander goes down. The problem is, I think we still have a couple of victims here on the other side. Yeah, Max Passion is dead. Galnagul now is able to move out. Hanzo nearly got the kill there. Galnagul now with a quick heal, but damn son, that was actually a close call. Abathar is still playing quite nicely around the bot lane in the meantime, by the way. Is able to avoid Dehaka. Needs to also start to mule the middle, which is exactly what he does. But now with level 7 talents in, just look at that big discrepancy in experience here. The Russians are so far ahead right now. And that obviously is starting to become important, since taking down structures early on in the game against your opponent gives you a massive lead on the objective towards the later stages. It's just brawl, brawl, brawl the entire time. Rhaegar with a cleanse as the Stormbolt hits Tyrael. They're going in for the drag, connected with Karazim. Not sure if he was really the target here. Looked more like they were aiming for Muradin. Gulnar jumps in. They just don't have the late game setup yet that they need. And they lose another hero. 7 kills against 3. They let the Russians get ahead again. Everything for Wind and Rain is currently going according to plan. Let them take the lead, then they can't come back. Now you're thinking, Russians can't start their comeback if they are ahead the entire time. That's the game plan. It was a game plan in game number 2, and it's a game plan in game number 3, apparently. So let's see if it works out another time. I mean, all jokes aside, I really think that if Wind and Rain doesn't really get a bit of momentum around level 10, they're going to be absolutely destroyed here. I mean, just look at the setup that we're currently seeing. They can go for the boss now if they wanted to, the Russians that is. They took another camp away, they go for the boss, and if around level 10 you're not winning big team fights and allow Illidan to chase the opponent down, then we're having a massive, massive problem on the hands of the red team, because I just don't see how they would gain that momentum otherwise. Tracer nearly falls to the camp, but Illidan takes over. Boss is taken. This is obviously a boss at 6 minutes and 30 seconds in, so don't get me wrong, that thing will take the fort down, but very little more than that. So with that said, we're having by now 9, nearly 10 for Wind and Rain, and on level 10 with heroics they really need to turn the tides of the battle. If they lose the next big fight with heroic abilities, I think they are pretty much, I don't want to say quite out of the game, but they would be so far behind that I feel it's going to be ridiculously hard for them to come back into it. So we actually see the hunt, 7-sided as well, the copy too. The Haga's taking the top control. But now the question, can they actually get a kill here? Temple at the bot lane is currently getting activated. That boss, as predicted, goes down after the fort was eliminated. So it doesn't really get much more than that. Abathur is still playing it very safe because he still sees Abathur on the top lane. Sorry, Dehaka on the top lane. Doesn't want to go too hard here. But now that we're having 2 forts already taken down and a couple of towers at the bot lane, they're not even going for the bottom of the map. They need to take down structures, seriously. The Sky Temple is all about taking structures down. And so far, Wind and Rain hasn't really done anything around that. They're starting to take the camp away as everybody jumps in, and I mean, that's nice, but what are you really going to do with this? Shamsik has already sniffed that out, and everybody is rotating in. Fallen and Banabi are coming here, so I'm not quite sure if they're really going to take that fight. I doubt it a little bit, to be honest with you. Yeah, and they let it slide, at least for now, but the bottom keep is nearly destroyed. The bottom keep is, honestly, it's not quite falling. It's close, but it's not going to be taken down. And that mule is coming in pretty handy. So at least at the top side, we're finally having a bit of value for Wind and Rain as to take one of the forts down. But Tyrael is already at the bottom of the map and is slug hunting. Abathur sees it, and Stark is a bit too late to really push that in. The mule is currently doing some work. But eventually someone has to deal with Tyrael, or he will make sure that that keep falls. Abathur is taking over the top side a little bit. 13 talents are in their hands. They're moving to the bottom of the map. Yeah, Illidan has hunted down, gets the copy, but everybody else is on the way now too. And they know it. Next Passion. Ooh, gets out. Dodges the arrow. Nicely done. That was a really good dodge. Yes, it hit still 2 heroes in the back line, but they were too far away to push the damage onto them. But they still want that keep, and they might get the keep. Illidan has to try and go into the fight here with the rest of them. Skok already has the double Muradin here as the copy. They don't have the level 13 talents, but they seriously need to push this if they want to save the keep, and I don't think they can. At this point, it feels like it's a freebie. Abathur doesn't have the mule ready up again. There it is, but it's too late. They're focusing it down, and that's the bot lane keep eliminated. Fantastic setup now for Team Russia. Yeah, looking strong with this. And yeah, Illidan has taken over in the middle. They're still waiting for level 13, and 13 is big. 13 is really big. Soma Transference alone is going to be fantastic to keep the heroes safe, just to name one example. And obviously having also Muradin's 13 is going to give him a lot too. At this point would still expect the healing static, but we've seen a lot of single target damage focus from Muradin players in the past as well. Slows are coming in. Pretty typical for the build with the charged strikes here to go then into the grounding bolt to get the additional slows into the game. By now we have, as I said, nearly 13, and this is really the moment where I mean, again, it's nearly a disaster already for Wind and Rain. Khaldor with a little bit of a 3-2-3 moment. I mean, we don't have Zuna in the game, but it might as well be him, because this is starting to get a bit dicey for them. They have nearly level 13. Now we have a double temple activating. They have, well, still the hunt on Illidan, so they can play around that. But the only thing that Team Russia has to do from here on out is to play for the objective. The bot keep is down. They have only a keep in the middle still there. We have a keep at the top side, and then you go over to the left side of the map, and you quickly realize that for Team Russia, we still have 2 forts with towers completely intact on the map, which means that if they just trade objectives, they don't even have to win a team fight and go for both. They just have to simply get one single shrine right here, one single temple, and that will pretty much deliver another keep into their hands. Now, don't get me wrong, if they channel it through, they can't get the keep quite right away, but just simply pushing it through, the trades are always going to end up positive for them. They have also a lot of control through Sanctification over another boss that could spawn later, and the boss will be up in another minute and 20 seconds. They have, in addition to that, also the Ball of Lightning, which works really, really well here too. So there's a lot of arguments to be made why the situation for Team Russia at this point is already fantastic. There's a short distance hunt and a Sanctification just to be on the safe side, but as you can tell, it just didn't do enough. There's the arrow, there's the kill, and guys, I gotta be honest, I think that's it. I honestly think that this is pretty much game right here. This is such a brutal blow against Wind and Rain. I would be shocked if they can make a comeback happen here. I'm not discounting it. I'm not counting it. It's still in the realm of possibility, but I think the chances that they're really turning this around are at this point slim to none. They lose the hero right at the start. There's no ult, no nothing. Now we have the shots fired against the middle. The turrets are down. Abathar Mule, or no Abathar Mule, it doesn't matter anymore. Shamsek is already scouting this out, and Muradin is now going to be attacked by 3 heroes, might even die. The drag doesn't connect, but neither does the Storm Bolt. He's going to try and jump out of this. There's the ult already being used. Banabir goes in, and that should be a dead dwarf. Well, the drag connects, but he still has the healing static. Trying to get the kill in. There's the heals, and they actually keep him alive for a little bit longer. They're still taking the fight here. This is the last fight. Ancestral is out. Max Passion is getting attacked and is down, and this has to be game. This simply has to be game. I mean, at this point, the question is already, are they just simply going to go for the core? Keep in mind, they can also go for the bottom temple now and simply make sure that they're going to get another key. But with that kill against Karazim, is there any doubt that they're going to end the game here? I mean, the shield is nearly eliminated just because the Siege Giants were pushing against it. There's a kill against Tracer. They're picking up the kills wherever they want them. And they're going for the keep now too. They take the keep, they go for a potential even additional kill. They don't really want to YOLO it. The problem is that Mule is obviously in play. So if you don't end the game right now, then Abathar is just going to heal it up again. But now that they took the keep down, which that means if they get the bottom temple, they can get another keep soon after. So now we have 16 in their hands too. It's honestly a disastrous game for Wind and Rain. They were a little bit too aggressive with their lineup, with their team composition and with the playstyle, and they were punished. It's a momentum-based combo, and they never really got the momentum. They never really got that momentum here. So with that, we're having still the rotation towards the bottom. The camps are taken away. It's only a 3-level lead. Yeah, so much transference or not, does it matter anymore? That's pretty much the question. They're taking more camps towards the top lane. Alright, nice move by Cassia here. But yeah, bot side, we're having Shamsek now taking even more shots. And those shots are currently firing straight towards the top, which is going to take the structures down even quicker. Actually, Illidan is still there. So it's a little bit of a slow rotation that we're seeing here. Everybody else is also... Oh, nice! Skork playing attention, yeah. That would have been a fantastic kill if they could have gone for Abathar there. It was definitely worth the move, I think. It was worth a try. It was like, it kind of could have worked out here. So yeah, shots are still fired towards the top, as you see. Like, even with the mule, that is going to get dropped in a moment, and it's only the fountain and the keep that is still there. Illidan and everybody else is still sitting around as they're waiting for the level 16. But yeah, the last few shots get fired, the fountain gets taken down too, and now the keep is the only thing that remains. So lanes are pushing, and it's massive amount of momentum. Galnagulnar has to contemplate life and its meaning as the last few structures are being taken down here. It's always the same question. What is time? Why are we here? Why is God not real? Is the spaghetti monster really watching over us or not? And in this case, Maiev just simply says, you know what, you can ask all that crap a little bit later, because right now we still have a game to lose. So let's get the show on the road and make sure that we're getting ready for game number 4. I have a hot date later on. I don't have enough time for you to contemplate the meanings of your existence right now. So with a 2-level lead, but at least even talents, there's another chance for a fight that we currently could see from Wind and Rain. And as I said, we might have Mirrodin already falling. Gets the avatar through. But Maiev is also on the run. That drag did not quite connect. Shamsik is good with this Tong, but he's not that good. The lanes are all getting pushed, by the way. Just look at the minimap for a second while we have that fight happening here. The avatar copy gets already eliminated, but now we're having a big push at the bottom of the map, and top side we're seeing this camp in play. So they can still go for the boss, and it seems like that is what they're gonna do here. Yeah, there we go. There we have it. Jumping in onto the boss. Mirrodin is already on the move, but they don't have the avatar copy anymore, and this one should be a goner. Ball of Lightning is another thing that they can utilize. Boss is taken, and that's game. That's simply game. Look at Maiev. Maiev is nearly dying here. Oh, and Galnagulnar actually does. Mirrodin is dead. The arrow misses. For a second I thought maybe it hits Abathar, but not even that's happening. So now we have, with 14 kills against 3, the Russians regaining some momentum in this series as they are going for the core to take a victory in that best of 5. The Abathar Illidan composition just simply not working out. Max Passion, maximum on the run right now, and is trying to rush away here, but that is not working either. They're not even caring for the core. They know the boss is going to finish that either way. They want Illidan, and they get Illidan, and that is game. That is game as the Russians start a bit of a comeback here on Sky Temple. Their map choice, their win, as we are about to head into game number 4. Game number 4, Team Russia. The question is on the last map if it is actually Team Russia turning it around, of Wind and Rain just went a little bit too hard on the, hey, we can just overrun them idea. So we'll see. Either way, by now we have Cursed Hollow, and that in itself is already a pretty cool map. We have the map choice again from the Russians. So far it worked out whenever they picked the map. They chose Sky Temple, now they chose Cursed Hollow. And the big question is, what are they going to pull off with that? Because now there's again Abathar to consider. We have again the ban on Imperius. Anna gets eliminated with this. So yeah, let's see what we have with that. Personally, I really think that an Abathar setup would be kind of nice, but usually he gets banned here. After being picked on the last map, I would still expect that the Slug gets taken out here by one of the teams. There's obviously still Vikings to consider to an extent. Falstad becomes quite powerful because of the Gust on the boss points. There's a lot of heroes that all of a sudden you can pick on Cursed Hollow, but this time the Slug gets banned out. So yeah, they're actually banning out the little worm here. And with that, we don't have any kind of slugger action. It's a little bit unfortunate, honestly. I kind of enjoyed that earlier. But yeah, let's see. With that, we still have Maiev around. We still have Falstad, Tyrael, all heroes that you could see on the map now. Dehaka, obviously, since it's a big map. Most of them, by the way, not as first picks. I didn't want to suggest that this is a great early pick to take. Tyrande, in this case, for example, is still much better. We could see the opening again with the Nuburak, for example, depending on the style that they want to play. Dibbles is good here too. Tyrael for the Sanctification, but just saying that there's definitely a lot of variation now to be had since the bans have definitely changed, and there are both of them. I mean, you have Tyrael and you have Falstad. If that doesn't just scream boss control at you, then you're playing the wrong game. That's Sanctification and Mighty Gust now over any of these fights, so that's gonna be a serious threat to Wind and Rain whenever a boss is being attacked there. Let's see. There's our Dehaka. As expected, the global on the map. You have Falstad on the other side, so you kind of need to do something about that. Maiev as well. And yeah, it's an aggressive setup already. We don't have a mage picked yet, so there is no Li Ming that has been claimed yet. Could still be played by Farlander. Tracer is still up too, if you want to play a Tracer setup. I honestly don't think that either one of the two teams is going to head into a Tracer, considering what's already being picked and played. And the ban against the Nuburak. Since they don't want to pick it, they ban it out. What else do we have now? What would it ban on the other side? I mean, at this point, I guess you are probably looking at the mages again. Seriously. Farlander on Li Ming would be a threat. Banabia, Farlander, they have a couple of really powerful heroes that they can pick here. And I think that either one of the two would be happy to get a couple of resets through in this game. There's the Jaina ban, so one mage is already out. Gust in the corner, and then the follow-up from Jaina would be pretty annoying too. Especially if you have another hero coming up on the offlane that can provide a stun. Blaze was picked earlier by them, and the combo with Tyrael Blaze would still be strong enough, no doubt about that. If you get the jet propulsion then through and can lock someone out, then Jaina can follow up on it. But there's Hanzo. Hanzo gets taken, and we have Kolya and Rhaegar. Now we can expect insta-picks on Garrosh and on Li Ming. I mean, Li Ming comes in as expected, but this time on the side of Wind and Rain. I talked in the first game already about how Macke plays the hero a lot lately. Again for them. I mean, not only lately, it's a big staple in his hero pool. But there's a bit more of a focus on Li Ming compared to what we've seen from him previously throughout the season. And now the last pick. That's going to be the offlaner that Shamzik is going to play eventually. Leo, Blaze, both up. Malthael. Alright, against Garrosh, definitely helpful. And that's it. Game number 4. Are we going to see a 5th map? Is it going to be potentially even a reverse sweep from Team Russia? Or is Wind and Rain finishing what they started with another victory here in this best of 5 series? We're going to find out on Cursed Hollow. Game number 4. Stalk on Tyrael here on Cursed Hollow for the Russians. Kolya on Rhaegar, Shamzik on Malthael, Banabia on Hanzo, and Farlander on Falstad. I honestly don't know what it is with Wind and Rain, but these guys really need to get their shit together. I mean, did we have a single map where they didn't instantly pause the game or pause it 5 times during any of these matches? It's honestly, they should rename themselves into 3-2-3. At this point, it really becomes a meme. This is not the only series where this happens. They've been doing this in nearly every single match that they've been playing. I don't know what these guys do during the loading screen. If someone all of a sudden decides that he has to take a massive shit and runs to the bathroom, but something is definitely going on there. I don't think that's healthy. If that's actually the case, then I feel someone needs to visit a doctor, because I'm getting concerned here. I'm honestly concerned. Make sure that you visit a doctor. Those bowel movements, they are not normal, my friend. There's something wrong with you, and we are all concerned with what's happening there. Maybe it's Max Passion sending another ticket to Blizzard and asking for his account to be unsilenced. I'm not quite sure what's happening there, but something's going on. Skog on Maiev right now for Wind and Rain. We have Galgulna on Tyrande, Macke on Li Ming, Bergholt on Garrosh, and Max Passion on Dehaka. And I know this is what you were all waiting for. Is he playing with the Max Passion account or with the Max Payne account? And in this case, we are back on the silence. Talking about the builds, by the way, we have On a Pale Horse taken from Malthael, and an auto attack build. I nearly want to call it old. For a second I was thinking, what the fuck is he doing? He's already starting to fly, and apparently Hanzo started pinging him and ignored what's happening on the map, and now we have an insta-kill against Hanzo. What's happening in that early game? Damn, son. So I was just about to talk that Falstad plays an auto-attack build, which I want to call a bit old school, since Wingman is these days normally the level 1 talent for them. But then we see the kill coming in against Hanzo there, so yeah, that game is already off to an interesting start. Let's put it like that. Yeah, the throw against Stalk, and the stun doesn't connect. That would have been a dead Tyrael if it did, but still a nice attempt here. Either way, top side, that's why we have our two globals, as traditionally the case. We're having the globals on the same lane, and Max Passion is getting a lot of damage on against Falstad. It's not quite able to connect the drag, which would have made this a little bit better, but still. So, with that said, we're currently having, yeah, stuns everywhere. Shamsik is basically just trying to run left, right, left to dodge everything that's thrown against him, which is honestly a lot. But we have the first camps now taken. Both of the siege giant camps are in play, and it's the top lane where we're going to see the objective, which makes it interesting that the two globals are actually top side and not moving towards the bottom, but they can possibly take the fight and then make the rotation shortly after. As I say this, we have also the bruiser camps attacked by both of the teams here. Okay, and yeah, nearly taking this. First one taken, level 4 is in. And with that, the hammer gains. Another throw. Yeah, Backhole just trying. It's a little bit of a warm-up for him. It's just like throwing Tyrael around a little bit until he gets the real connect with someone like Rhaegar, or maybe even the Bird. Either way, we're now seeing the level 4 talents on both sides, which gives us, amongst other things, also the healing totem again. Objective obviously coming to play pretty soon. Indomitable for Backhole, super important for him. One of the most important talents that you will get on Garrosh. The standard talent, the go-to talent, is pretty much mandatory on level 4. And here comes the tribute. A little bit of damage exchanged here in the middle. Kolya already dropping the healing ward and sticking around a bit longer to make sure that it gets the value too. Nice throw actually. And Gulnar is missing those stuns. Honestly, if he connects with one of the last two stuns against Stark, he's dead, but he dies anyways. Trade value, oh yeah, a little bit. And Make actually dies. Make goes down. There's the stun connect against Banabir. The drag connects as well, so does the owl, and that's a dead Hanzo. What started with a great kill is now turning against two. Ooh, the kill against Tyrande, but the dog is dead too. Animal abuse in Heroes of the Storm. Rhaegar dies, taken down by Garrosh. The channel up to the top. Shamsik is getting this one for free, as everybody is still brawling. Malthael is saying, well, I'm kind of done with that, to be honest with you. So let's just go for the objective and take it from there. At the bottom of the map, we are still seeing Falstad getting his stacks together. He's sitting at 8 right now for the baseline, so... Oh, sorry, for his level 1 quest. So that's going to make sure that he gets a bit more out of that. Up to the top, what do we have here? Stalker starting to rotate in. Trying to zone them out a little bit more. Boomerang, obviously, for Falstad. Still the most important talent. It always makes me cringe so hard when we see something else in Boomerang taken. Talking about Falstad, the bird nearly goes down, gets tethered and might fall, and does fall. The axe to the face. Garrosh is hungry, he wants some chicken today, and goes straight in to prepare that. Up at the top lane, Max Passion with a good drag, but still fighting against two. This is in the long run not going to really be sustainable for him. In the meantime, we're having Tyrande already with a channel at the bot lane, so it's a 1-for-1 trade in terms of tributes. But the pressure at the top is yielding some rewards, as we're having the first tower eliminated. So that worked out. And down to the bottom of the map, we're having in the meantime our little action around the dog, who is trying desperately to defend this setup here. But alright, at the same time we're having the Celestial Attunement taken right there. There's not really a whole lot of stuns on the other side, but there's a abundance of slows that we're having. So first of all, the Mighty Gust can of course to an extent be negated by it, and more importantly, when Rhaegar drops his own slow, that definitely works out for him too. But it's definitely one of those setups where you could have argued, okay, go into Khaldor's resistance instead. There's obviously also Hanzo to consider. When the arrow connects and you have the stuns available, you can negate a lot of the value there. But it's definitely not quite as dangerous as we oftentimes see when teams go for a full-on CC chain composition with an attempt to drop burst damage from a mage like Jaina in. But that setup is still incredibly dangerous. As I said, the boss control in particular is crazy from them. So yeah, the Russians definitely have the tools there. Interrupt is in, Skok jumps out, and here comes the rest of the team. Max Passion is already on the move, sitting at the side, waits it out though. Level 7 is there for both teams, but look at the level 10 that we're seeing for Wind and Rain. They are about to get that tribute, and they get it for free. 13 stacks on the level 1 quest, the Seasoned Marksman for Falstad. With this set, we're now having again the throw. Stork gets stunned, jumps out, and just barely. It was a good cleanse from Rhaegar here again. Khaldor Martian definitely making sure that his frontline tank is able to survive. Falstad, in the meantime, is topside. So this entire endeavor here that we saw for the Russians was only designed to buy time. It was only there to buy time for the bird. As the bird gets the damage at the top, they were trying to delay that channel on the tribute for as long as they could. But now they're making the play for the boss. They're trying to lock this one down. There's the vision, and they're going to fight for this. And honestly, I think Wind and Rain is going to get wrecked here. The bird is already flying in. They just have to time it now properly. Farlender with a stun into the boss. There comes the arrow. The boss is absolutely not impressed and doesn't even help out. There's the cage on the ground, but Tyrande still dies. And Hanzo is dead. Hanzo gets killed by the boss, and so does Malthael. So does Falstad. Honestly, if I'm Team Russia, I'm calling hacks right now. If that was not an objective boss. That was not a neutral boss at all. That boss stopped attacking. Falstad gusts them into a corner. The boss doesn't do anything anymore. Market dies, by the way. Rhaegar is dead too. Tyrell the only survivor. But the second that the gust happens, the boss says, no, I'm not gonna attack them anymore. I don't like Russians. I'm absolutely on board with Wind and Rain here. I don't want to be taken by the other team. But the second that they're turning around again, the boss says, oh look, a free Hanzo. Stuns him out, kills him. And that's the beginning of the end here. So yeah, if I've ever seen a boss that has taken sides, it's definitely this one. Yep, the Russian bribes just not strong enough this time. Wind and Rain a little bit stronger on that regard. If they could get that tribute, that would be fantastic for them as well. They're actually trying to go in with the Haka, but it's already too late. Max Passion realizes that a moment later, but the fight is still happening. That boss has taken the bottom fort, by the way. And with this, there's the attempt for Stork. Ooh, backhold, and that's a kill. That's the first stack for the last rights. Barnabias on the run, gets out. Malthael falls shortly after he gets the kill. That's another tribute spawning, and the problem for the blue team is that they lose Rhaegar, and this should be a curse against them. And on top of that, there's another boss in the corner. This is getting slightly problematic. A level lead, nearly a talent advantage, and if they now get boss plus the curse, that's gonna hurt. And that's gonna hurt a lot. The boss control that we have from the Russians is, as I said before, kind of crazy. But because of what happened at the first fight, they can't put it into action right now. Boss is now taken on the right side. Barnaby is desperately trying to channel this. If he can't get the channel, the bird is down. Chicken for dinner once again. Apparently Garrosh is still hungry. He's a bit greedy today. He wanted more. And now they're going for the curse. And the boss is already pushing the top lane. The bot lane is getting pushed as well. They're going for Malthael. The ult has hit. The drag doesn't though. The taunt doesn't connect. But we're still having the taunt on the side of Garrosh. And that preps the kill. The second one comes through too. There's another one. 15, 16 kills against 5. And they are absolutely murdering this. Going straight for the keep here. Perfect play. Guys, at this point, you can think about trying to go for core. That fort in the mid lane is obviously going to fall as well. But now with the boss eliminating this one easy peasy, moving through the top lane and not even having to deal with the keep in the first place, they can do a whole lot of damage here. We're already having the rotation straight into the middle because they're realizing this. They're realizing, hey, the boss is going to take that anyways. If we can do a little bit of damage here, maybe we can even take 2 keeps with this. They're not quite there yet. Maiev jumps out, the boss is on the move, and they're getting another Siege Giant camp. Bot lane is getting attacked now as well. Another keep that is taking damage here in the mid lane. A similar picture. This one is already falling. This is a full-on onslaught that we're seeing from Wind and Rain. We are 10 minutes into this game, guys, and they are absolutely getting murdered, the Russians, that is. That keep at the bot lane is suffering. The forts are already all destroyed, every single one of them. They're pushing into the middle now. They have nearly level 16. It's an insane lead for Wind and Rain. An absolute insane win. Win not quite yet, but a lead that is just ridiculous. And yeah, right now, how do you deal with that? You're nearly 3 levels behind. You're in a situation where you have a talent disadvantage in just a moment. 2 stacks on Malthael, that's at least something. The cooldown reduction is solid, but it's not strong enough yet to make a difference. We have 25 stacks on Falstad. He's still 15 away to get his own quest completed. And every single wall has fallen. Those 2 are so low. Well, actually, the wall here is still half intact, at least. Camps are being spotted out. One is already taken. Have to make sure that they're also finding out when exactly someone is making the move over here. Berghold is still playing it. Oh my god, they're actually stealing this. Oh, they're taking it! Oh, they saw the vision from Hanzo, moved around it, and now the camp is stolen too. Oh, that just feels bad. Stun attempts again. There's the taunt, the cage, the damage, the self-ancestral, and the arrow didn't hit anything. Legend has it, the arrow of Hanzo is still flying today. Malthael goes down, Rhaegar is low, might die too, barely saves himself here for another moment. But this is an absolute unmitigated disaster that we're seeing here. The big push in the middle, and they are just going in with those two camps. There's the kill against Falstad. And guys, right now it seems that nothing can stop Wind and Rain here. This is absolutely disastrous. The keep top lane, long gone. The one in the middle now eliminated. They can make the play for the core here. Stork is already Hearthstoning back just to get the big boost on the mana and hit point pool as they are somehow trying to turn this around. But this is obviously nearly out of their control. Especially with now Hanzo being attacked. The cleanse just on the nick of time to save him. Li Ming goes down. At least a little bit of a recovering move here. Maybe the kill against... Yep, that's another one. That's the third stack actually on Malthael. And they get another kill against Maiev, maybe? Oh, good isolation from Max Passion. Yeah, but Maiev is still falling. Maiev still goes down. And all of a sudden, that's a lot of XP that they just got. Gulnar will fall too. Even the arrow sacrifice from Hanzo. Kill comes in a little bit later. And that's a lot of XP. That's a ton of XP. The problem is that every single keep is gone. Every single keep is gone. And the shield is gone too. And those three catapults, they are doing work. Siege Giants are coming in at the bottom. So now we're having Rhaegar and everybody else desperately trying to defend the core. But the core already goes down to 59 at this point. 59%. And what can they do? They can only go boss. It's the only place that they have. They need control and they need it soon. They haven't taken a single major structure down. The best that they accomplished so far is eliminating half of the HP of the top keep. Of the top fort, that is. So now Max Passion is still sitting there. Gets actually sniffed out, but they can't go for the kill. They go for the boss, and this one they will get 100%. It's even talents right now. So if they can get some momentum, they might have a chance here. Rhaegar took the camp. That will alleviate some of the pressure at the top lane. But it's continuous catapults that are now getting pushed. And it's honestly still, and I mean, even backdoors are not out of the question any longer with only 59% on the core. That is a potential curse. If they can win the fight, if Russia can win the fight here, and maybe curse their opponent, they have a chance to take a few of the structures down. This is another big one. Yep, there's a big stun already coming in. Keep the boss control in mind. They have everything that they need still with the Sanctification. They need to make that play. If they can get the boss, that would be fantastic. If they get a kill, that would even be better. There's the throwback already. Yeah, the tribute is on the map, so they can get the curse now. At the bottom of the map, we still have Dehaka dealing with the boss, who's trying to at least get one fort. But that's going to be a curse. The curse is going to buy them a little bit of time. Oh, if they make a comeback here, that would be insane. If they get a comeback, that would be nuts. Yeah, bot lane. All right, they need forts now. They need kills. They need something. Stork comes in. Stork comes in. They go for the kill and they get it. That's 4 stacks on Malthael. 20-second cooldown reduction. And they get the double kill. Tyrande and Garrosh are both dead. And they're breaking through the wall. They're going straight for the keep. They're going straight for the keep here. They're saying, guys, we need to be aggressive. And of course they have to. What else are they going to do here? They can't go core though. Nah, there's no way. Not with Rhaegar being that low in mana. They cannot possibly try and do this. But getting the keep is big. And at the bot lane, they get at least the fort thanks to the curse. So all of a sudden, we're actually looking at a setup where they're doing a little bit better. They're still dancing around here, but there is no way. Unless they get an insta, they still try it. You got to be joking. There's no way. Stork with a Sanctification. The bird flies in. Are they actually going to pull that off? They're going for it. Ooh, the double kill. Malthael is dead. 44%, 40% on the core. And it's a full 5-man wipe. 35 against 50. 89%. They YOLO'd it. They said, guys, we cannot win in the long run. We can't win this. We don't have a single keep left. And they decide to simply go for a final move, a final YOLO, and it doesn't work out. And now we're seeing Wind and Rain with a move towards the left side of the map. Question is always going to be, could they have maybe played it slow? Yes or no? It was a difficult call, but they made it. They decided to give it a shot, but at 35%, that onslaught gets stopped. Here it comes, the final attack. Farlander with a big 3-2-3. A little bit of a throwback there to what we've seen from Wind and Rain throughout the entire series. But the red team takes it with a 3-1 victory against Team Russia. GG and well played.